So, as every week, the topic of this tea came to us during the week through the actual work that we are doing. So, the topic of this week is: Are you a genius or are you completely mad? And hello, all mad people. So, and it's actually the way that this came to us. It's about limitations that we pose on ourselves because of judgments. Do we self-judge or we allow ourselves to be?
Because the only thing that separates your opinion about yourself, either in genius or in completely mad, is the self-judgment.
Yes. And can you be both? You can absolutely be both at the same time. And actually...
And it doesn't matter that much.
And it doesn't matter. Those words absolutely don't matter. But actually how this came about is pretty interesting. Well, actually, I'll say how I connected to this is that I connected to my mother, actually. There was like an anniversary of, she passed away somewhere in the 90s. But it was her anniversary that was coming up, and then we connected to her. And the download that I got, it was very shaking. And the download was about the regrets for the things in life that she actually did not allow herself to do. And funny enough, one of the big things that she always wanted to do, and somehow it never happened, was to go sailing. Imagine going sailing. And one of the messages was, if you go sailing, please take a part of me with you. And this is going to be something that she never allowed herself to do. And you can imagine in our context these days, this is something very easy. And some of you have done so much of that. Uwe and Ev is a skipper. Ev has traveled the world in her sailboat many times over. So it was the strength of that emotions that she had around not allowing herself to do things because this, because that, because and buts were always in a way of doing things that really, really mattered. And then we have all seen the reports of people who are on their dying deathbed, and what they mostly regret is that they took life too seriously. They did not understand at what level it's really just a game and fun. And they did not allow themselves to do basic things that were deep-seated dreams, and partially because they didn't even understand that those are the dreams that they have. So they were buried somewhere deep inside, and they never came actually to be understood. So what we would like to clarify now for us during this session is where we stand in our wildest dreams, and how do we actually, are we free, are we open to let them happen, and what have we done in our life so far as to understand what are the deepest dreams that we have, and have we actually pursued them or not, and why.
So, and what happened when we did, and what happened when we didn't.
So I guess I will put these questions to you guys just to kind of get where you stand with that. Are you aware? The question is this: what are your wildest dreams? The ones that you dare to actually call the wildest dreams, and have you actually acted upon them? And if you had, and if you hadn't yet, what were the consequences? So three questions like that. What are your wildest dreams? Have you acted upon them? And what were the results in your own life? And I can share how it was for me, but I want to first hear how was it for you guys.
Can I say something?
Yes, Uwe, of course.
I can totally relate to the story you said. My grandmother, actually, I was sitting on her lap. I was very young, and she told me, you know, like she wished that she danced more, you know, and I have no clue what that means still, but I understood that she had regrets, you know. And later on, years later, I understood that her grandson, she told her grandson that she had a regret. And I was thinking, when I want to tell my grandson, you know, whether I will have one or not is a different story. But if I want to tell a story, I want to tell a very different story. You know, like I tried everything, and I managed to follow the dreams. And I think this is the thing. Sometimes I cannot pronounce the dream or something, but then something in my life happens, and I do a certain thing, and then I find out later, oh, actually, this was something I wanted to do, but I could not have pronounced it beforehand. But then something happens, and I go this route, and it's completely amazing. I'm in awe, you know. But I cannot tell exactly what is the dream and where to go. But life happens, and we take it as it is.
Beautiful. Thank you, Uwe. This is definitely part of this topic, is how to pinpoint what is the real dream and what is something that we have been NLP'd into wanting. Who else can tell us something about what are your wildest dreams and have you acted upon them? And what were the results?
I'd like to answer. For me, it's more about uncovering deep truths and overcoming them, because it can be overwhelming. So it's about the nature of reality, the nature of a solar system. What do we do here? What's our life purpose? You know, is there a life purpose anyway? You know, all these questions. So as the years go by, I start to explore these. And so when you ask a question, I'm like, I don't know. What is my deepest dream? I'm not sure. I just want to uncover the secrets of life. That's why I will start a podcast soon, which is why I changed my name, called the Heart Warriors. Yeah. And it's what drives me, the truth. Because the truth also means what you are doing on this earth, not to purchase ego stuff like, you know, wanting a bad amount of money or this or that. Some things are necessary. So I cannot be like, oh yeah, I don't want money. Of course I want money, but it's not the goal. It's the means to an end. So yeah, I'm starting to also uncover what are my true dreams. Still not exactly sure, but I guess it could be temporary goals, let's say. But my ultimate goal is to realize who I am truly at heart. You know, really. Am I more than a mere human? Who am I? Yeah, that's what I'm seeking to explore.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you, David. It's interesting. Yes, what came up is that sometimes the wildest dreams can change during the life. And what's interesting is, yes, we don't always know what they are. So I'm just kind of keeping tabs on what have been uncovered. Thank you, David.
So maybe I can say something?
Yes, please. Yes.
I wanted to tell about the dream I had as a child. So ever since I remember from childhood, because it was something that really changed my life. I mean, in my adulthood. So I remember when I was really from as far as I remember, I always kind of dreamt that I would not only travel, but that I would actually live in different countries. So I had this huge kind of like longing in me that I didn't just want to scratch on surface on the countries. I wanted to experience how it is to get up every day there and go to school there and speak a different language. My background, I'm from Poland, and I remember already as a 6-year-old I would read books in Russian. My father taught me the alphabet. I would read it and I would understand it. I'd be like, oh my God, languages are so easy. I understand it. But I changed my mind later, right? When I tried learning German. But anyways, I kind of gave up on this dream at some point growing up because my family wasn't very wealthy. So growing up in communistic Poland and then having this dream is like almost impossible unless you're super rich, right? And then when I went to university, this dream kind of awoke again because there was this Erasmus program. But then they told me I wasn't the right candidate because they told me you have to be doing a lot for university, you have to be, you know, the best in languages, whatever. And my English wasn't the best at the time, and there were only super few places. But then I met this colleague in my English class, and then I noticed, hey, I'm not really very different from this guy, and he's going to Denmark for the next semester. So I was like, when he can do it, I can do it. Sometimes you need it, like this realization that it's not really, you know, because my mind at first was like, it's not attainable for me. And then meeting this colleague who was basically like same level as me in my opinion, made me realize, oh, I can achieve it too. So I applied, and it was really funny because I didn't really speak German. I mean, I had 2 years of German classes in my high school, but I decided to go for German test because it was like the biggest amount of people could go, like 11 people could go to Germany, and only 4 people could go to English-speaking courses like Denmark or Sweden. So, and I really wanted, it was like, I have to go. So it doesn't matter in the end if it's Germany, I just have to go, right? And then what I did for a week, I took my old high school books, and then I learned for a week, I learned grammar, I learned German. And then what happened was really quite crazy because it turned out I was second best in the German test in the entire university. And then even better thing happened. They told us that basically out of nowhere a new option came, which is Switzerland, and with the best scholarship, like 500 euro instead of only 100 euro for Germany. And they said they decided to give it to 2 people who had the best German test, and I was second best. I almost fell off the chair. I was like, oh my goodness. And then it went even better, I must say, because at some point I learned that to live, to survive in Switzerland, 500 euro was nothing. And I was shocked because it was like my father's salary in Poland, you know, for a month. So I was like, oh my God, I can't go. And then I was already very shortly to telling them I can't afford that because my mentor in Switzerland told me I need another 500. But then I thought to myself, like, no, it was my biggest dream ever. I don't care how I'm going to get this money. I'm going, I'm doing it. And then what happened is really like magic. Like 1 week before going, we got, like me and this other girl, we got email from a person, like a man in Switzerland, and he told us he was already renting rooms in his big house to students. And then he was kind of like doing a little search about Poland, and then he decided like, oh my God, you guys, you know, just give me 250 Swiss francs for a month, and you can eat with us and live with us, because I know, you know, the level of money in these 2 countries is so different. So basically, in the end, it ended up like that. I had 750 francs, like 500 euros, 750 francs back then, and I paid only 250 for the room, you know, and the food was included because it was like family that gave us everything. And I had another 500 to enjoy Switzerland. So it was really amazing, and even better. I mean, my mom came to visit, and she met my host dad, and they fell in love, and they're together now. And so yeah, and in the end I also moved to Switzerland like 10 years ago. So it's amazing. So I guess if you have this huge dream in your heart, just go for it. Like, just don't think whether it's possible or not, just go. And then the universe puts all this magic together to make it work.
Wow.
This is
Well, Anna, you have pretty much put the formula out there, exactly how this is supposed to be done by your experience. It's really, really amazing to actually have something practical to illustrate these concepts. Because exactly that's what it is. We don't know how they are going to be realized exactly. But what you know is that you have a passion for it. And like Anna said, well, you know what? I'm going to do it. I don't know how, but I'm going to do it. And that actually, the whole universe reacts to that, because that level of commitment and that level of inner joy and that level of kind of trust kind of surprise me and bring me this in any way possible, somehow how I cannot even imagine, the universe reacts to that. Beautiful, beautiful story. Thank you, Anna. Thank you. And the question was, what is the difference between dream and goal? I didn't ask about goals. I asked about wildest dreams. So wildest dreams is not even one dream. It is something that you would think my life is a fairy tale. If this comes in, it's like...
it's a state of being. It's how you want to feel.
So what would be your ideal situation in life if there were no obstacles? Because at the end, there are actually no obstacles, but we will see that by the end of the session. But I'm giving you a little preview. So how would be, what is the most wild, most amazing way that you would be living? That's the wildest dream. That's what we call wildest dream here. So thank you, Anna. This was amazing, beautiful story. And beautiful story how it actually opened up possibilities for different levels, and even then your mother as well, and it's kind of starting creating magic for people around you, not just you. That's what happens when you kind of pursue it. Would anyone else like to share what were some of your wildest dreams that you have actually maybe acted upon them, done something about them, pursued them?
Or not.
Or maybe not, yeah. Didn't have courage.
Yeah, I could share, but like very quick. Yeah, thank you, Uwe, for inviting me. So last year I went to US, and a friend of mine told me, like, Irina, your work is so much needed there. So something what you do is like so much needed in this country. So I went there. I knew only one person there, and then the same like Anna's story, things like started like unfolding magically. And one time I went to a friend of mine, also another facilitator, to see his workshop. And I was on the train from San Diego back to Los Angeles, and I like in this half sleep I fell into this kind of like different state meditation where I saw what is exactly needed there. So it was like the topic was just like, to give you the context, is how to bring people to the best state of love and connection. And then I like the train went over the garbage area, you know, over on the train, like, you know, on the bridge below. And then I really understood that the people could see the light and the love only after they face the darkness, the garbage. So, and that was like the fun experience started there. And I created a project, like, you know, I was like contemplating meeting with different people, and I created a project that calls like the Juicy Love Temple, is where we remove the barriers that we build up around love. So, and in this creation within like, I went there, I met so many people, and no one was like, Irina, you're Russian, like, well, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm creating this project, and it's like about remove the barriers, about love. And everyone's like, wow, such a cool vision, like let me help you, let me connect to other people. So it's like it went on and on and on and on. And at some point I picked a magical date, 22nd February and 2222, and I wanted to have 22 people there. And one of my incredible, beautiful friends, we sat on the Santa Monica beach, and I drew the circle. Seeing me inside, and 22 people. Like, I thought about each person coming with their qualities into that place. And I saw myself sitting there in the circle and having them. And like 3 days before the event, people started asking me, is it happening? Is it not happening? I was so like, I sold only 3 tickets, right? I wanted to have 22. So those facilitators or organizers, like, you guys know, like how, you know, like how scary is that, you know? And then a friend with who I was staying in the house, you know, he was like, are you sure? Are you doing it? Maybe like, with 3 people, like doing his calculations, maybe you need to cancel it. And I'm like, no way, I'm not going to cancel it. Like, I'm going to do it for these 3 people who already paid. There is no way, like, don't even dare to doubt my dream. So, and that was like, for me, this very strong reaction where I really understood, like, the moment we start doubting our dreams, they back off. And the moment that you really full on invest yourself in this, like, believe that this is happening, then like, I was really desperate, like, when like the most closest person who, been around me started doubting my own dreams. So that was like really hard. Yeah, it was really hard. And I was like, okay, like, what's your mission? What's your purpose? Why did, like, I had to come back to my why, because this why really drove me, like, over the different, world parts. And then, same as in Anna's story, magically, like, after me crying on on the bed, like, rolling under the blankets, like, calling everyone, like, really asking, like, hey, what can I do? Like, tell me, show me the path. What can I do? What is it, like, what is the solution? How can I get there? And like, literally, like, I sold my last ticket of the 23rd person, like, when I carried the boxes with all my equipment to my event venue. That was incredible. And then, like, I had this 22 people, me, I was the 23rd, sitting there in a circle, doing the beautiful, like, shows and connections, and like, that was for me, like, the real magic, where people came by, like, 6 people supported me there. It was just incredible, and then like 24 hours after we finished the event, like, another client sent a message, Irina, by the way, like, the weekend of the 28th of March, I'm available in case you like to host it again. And I'm like, what? I not even thought about that. So it was, like, really crazy, like, how, like, the power of your dream is when you don't take no from other people as your reality, then you really go and manifest that. So
yeah, this would be important key. Thank you for highlighting that.
Yeah, thank you,
you
Irina.
guys.
Yeah, not allowing no to come in. Yes, beautiful.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you for sharing all.
Yeah.
Meow, meow.
Who did say that?
That was me.
Oh, okay. So somebody wanted to share. Okay.
Yeah, thank you guys for hosting this beautiful circle.
Yeah. So, yeah, is anyone else having something to share? Or we go on to actually dive into actually where you guys are? This is what we want to check. Where is everyone with their... So, what we're really looking for is this deepest possible version of, like, the wildest possible dream, yeah? The wild existence, something that is sustainable, and the inner state in which we continue living. Yeah. So pretty much, okay, so we are working with these states through something that we call gene keys. I don't know how many of you guys are working with gene keys, but actually this here is the topic that is part of what we call gene key 11, and that gene key 11 talks about what if we can have in our life what's called the magical reality. So magical reality, yeah, it's not just magic. Magic in itself can, has its source on the right brain. But magical reality means that we have a structure, just like Irina shared. There is a structure that she has put in place, and then she has a magical expectation that this is going to be filled with the idea that she had. And when these two things come together, then there is really an option for extreme beautiful magic to start happening. So what we are seeing right now, and what we have in our life when we start thinking about what would be the wildest dream that we have, we start first seeing obstacles immediately.
Mm-hmm.
What we are saying, okay, so magical reality, yeah, the wildest dreams. So what happens when we are actually having a wildest dream in front of us? Well, something like this happens. There are obstacles that start happening
Mm-hmm.
from within our world, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So...
And obstacles have a purpose of bullying us back into the state before we decided to do something. So this state that you guys described
Mm-hmm.
before acting upon the dreams is you have the idea. It's still very much in the state of feeling, and the second that you want to actually do it, well, something like this what's popped on the screen
Mm-hmm.
at the moment that distracts you from what you were about to think, to feel, to do. It
and
just
says, oh,
takes
this is more urgent.
Yeah.
Let's think about fear part. Let's
Yeah.
go into this direction.
And hopefully you never get back
Mm-hmm.
to what you were actually about to do.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that happens when you have an idea that's a little bit out of the box and a little bit out of your normal flow, well, parasites, interferences, anything that you can possibly imagine come up to be seen and to show the unrealized archetypes within yourself that you have to deal with. It's sort of a zone of turbulence that opens up immediately after you decide to do something great. And I know that, for example, Anna Stipsic knows something about it. What happens when you when you try to finally, dare and go for the dreams? All most impossible things come to put you back where you were. And it's not the world that's putting back you where you were. It's your own unrealized fears that materialize through every single person, closest friend, mom, dad, grandma, cousins, neighbors, unrelated people, completely out of the blue, like this popping from nowhere. Those interferences are exact next step that happens when it's really important moment for your decision to either distract you or to bully you back into non-magical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole energy and courage is actually needed not even to carry out the dream, but to go with steadily through this zone of turbulences. That's where the most energy is needed at the moment of deciding to go for something you really love. All of you have had somewhat of experience of this when you decide to do something really different, or you quit your comfortable job, or you quit the place you were living, or you quit the family, or you quit a dysfunctional relationship. The moment that you take the decision of leaving something that's not comfortable or going for something better, there's always a reaction. The reaction that's trying to say, have you thought about it? Be realistic, but think about it. And they give you 25 reasons why it shouldn't work. Nobody really comes with 25 reasons why it's a great idea, but the 25 reasons of what could possibly go wrong, that's what happens, and it's unavoidable. The more density you still hold inside, the more scary will be those messages. The more amplified, the more realistic they will sound. Why you shouldn't do this? Because you might fail, because you will not get money from that, or it might endanger whatever status quo. All possible reasons will be served to you, but with a very convincing argument. Mm-hmm. But they always come from the left brain and logics.
So, for example, from the parents, yeah, or from the grandparents, from those who have had life experiences that actually bring them into the, well, they didn't have a luxury of even being able to come to their wildest dreams because they had to survive all those, war years. So all of us have ancestors in Europe in that past century imbued us with a lot of impossibilities. So then we are taking on their way of thinking. So we need to understand from where these blocks are coming and to kind of say, okay, great. Well, thank you. We understand that this is coming from the outside, but this is not my reality, and I'm going to leave it aside.
Mm-hmm. Think of the moment when you decided, for example, to do a little bit odd choice for studies, or you decided to not go to university, or
I had an example for that.
to change something.
I mean, I had a band during my high school, and we were quite successful. We were kind of almost at the point of making a record. So when I came back, we had a compulsory military service back then. 1 year after I came back from that, I announced to my family, well, I would like to have a break for 1 year and commit myself just to music so that we make this record, and then I will start studying a year later. And of course, it was a no way. If you don't go and continue your school right now, you will never finish your university and all that. And it was, of course, a no. And at that time, I went with that no.
So people who, or for example, I moved out of my country at the first possibility and going into complete nowhereness and just taking a leap of faith. And of course, the most popular comments would be pointing out, what could possibly go wrong, and whom it comes from. Like I can say from my experience, for every kind of, and I have made a couple of decisions really out there that brought reactions, but from whom are those reactions coming? Reactions came always and always from people who haven't realized their own wildest dreams, who have been too prudent, too safe, too rational, too logical, and are actually stuck and feel stuck in where they are and how they live. So those will be the ones, grabbing by the foot, the one who wants to a little bit go out of the norm, projecting their own fears. The ones supporting, for example, my extravagant ideas were the ones who have done it themselves. And they say, yeah, like, don't mind, don't listen, just go. You will see, it will open, it will somehow happen. And if it doesn't happen, then something better is waiting behind. So those who really know what it means to take a leap of faith, change everything, leave and build from scratch, they will be there to give a constructive feedback of, just do it.
Mm-hmm. And so what is interesting is the mechanism with which this works. The mechanism with which the blocking of those ideas work is we have like a rational part of the brain, and our whole society is actually super concentrated on exploring the rational side of the brain. And we have this right side of the brain that is working with more of the artistic, more female side of the brain that is bringing the messages from intuition and messages from this deep feeling. And actually where wildest dreams are, they are more felt as a substance of, okay, so this is how I would most beautifully feel my life to be. But the mechanism is that we are in a state right now that there is almost like no trust at what's coming from that more intuitive side. And this is actually the shadow of this gene key 11. And I will post this later in our group so that you can actually read, because it's very interesting to see how this inner pattern projects to the outer pattern right now. So usually, for this reason or the other, we decide not to look at that right brain because it has some sort of scary imagery in there. Maybe, there's some sort of fear that is installed connecting to trusting that right side of the brain. For example, fear are those questions of my parents. Well, don't go and do music because you will never finish school that way. And of course, that means you will not have food. It means you will not be able to survive, sustain yourself. So from where these fears come, they're blocking that most magical way of expressing myself, yeah? So on one side, some fear is blocking the trust to the right brain. And on the other side, there is the audio message, almost like the sound message. There is a slogan connected to this state that both together actually combine to create like a virtual reality, fear-based virtual reality that we don't kind of consider that it's not real. So for example, like those who pause, like those who make 1 year break in their studies are losing the working habits. This was the mantra of my parents. So they had there was a sound mantra connected to the fear of actually doing something. And those two are locking us in really controlled illusion. And if you look outside of us, well, there you go, controlled illusion everywhere, yeah? So there is this fear of some disease being spread. And on the other side, there is a mantra. The mantra is
stay at home,
save lives. Some idiotic mantra that makes no sense, but it's like hypnotized into our subconscious. And, playing with your emotions because you feel, oh, but am I saving really lives by staying, like this? Or you have ritualized murder that, happens and then being broadcasted by all of the possible public channels and then called Black Lives Matter. So you have mantra plus, fear-inducing action together to create mind control, controlled illusion. I call it controlled illusion, yeah? So what happens inside is directly right now projecting on the outside. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting to look at how this is created in order to actually let it go and don't believe any of it, yeah? Just kind of go back to what is the true feeling that my heart gives me about this.
Yeah. What is the inner truth, the one with eyes closed and ears shut? What is there? Because at the macro level, at the planetary level, this formula, image and sound projecting together and creating something that doesn't exist, a virtual fact, is mirroring how much you believe in outer projections, is also how much you believe your inner judgments, your inner fears, and your inner statements of the same kind. I can't start, playing guitar at the age of 50 because my cousin who tried never succeeded. So you have a familiar image with a statement associated, and you somehow think that because that matched that, well, it's gonna work the same way for you. And what we're looking for is this, to break this automatically wired examples of others that we associate to ourselves, because we have heard it so much. Look at Uncle John who lost everything because he quit his well-paid job, and you've been hearing it over and over, and has become really a mantra of a family, of a famous failure. Yeah,
and
it's a myth.
And there is this kind of tendency to actually more. It's like the fear bias to actually towards things that are fear-inducing rather than bias towards, for example, Anna's example. Why nobody says, oh, but look at this woman, she had actually followed her dreams, and like it worked in amazing ways, and she even included her mother, and she got like the next like level of stipend, and it all worked out. So we forget these examples, and we actually attach ourselves to the negative examples that threaten our survival, because it is a natural tendency of our limbic brain to try to avoid the death situation. So there is a natural tendency to give more importance to the situations of danger than the situations of prosperity. But guess what? That limbic brain has lost its function for us from the times that we were in the tribal societies. So now we can make our decisions a little bit above that initial pull in that direction.
So those fears are the ones that manifest as judgments, judgment of self and judgment of others. So when you know judgmental people, and we all know, at least couple of people who are always ready to jump and judge others for being this too much, that, and people who severely judge others, they super severely judge themselves. And the judgment comes from this, what Victor just mentioned, the induced fear of everybody who has ever failed around the person, their family, and the extended world. It's almost like the brain is tuned into the frequency of what can go wrong instead of how could it work. So we have a little bit kind of forced positive examples through spiritual practices that, train people to look at how could it work. But it's always a little bit, with extra boost and sometimes wishful thinking to overcome this very easy and automatic negative programming. But we don't have many natural free-flowing inspiration between people who automatically see the best. So that judgment comes from the fears and manifests as, why I can't do this because, or I would like to do that but. So this is a absolute winning formula to kill a dream before it has even had a chance. Is, I would like to trek in Himalayas, but and then comes, it's expensive, it's not the right moment, I have
Children,
no one to go
job.
with, it's too high, it's too cold, but I would so love it.
Well, how to be aware and avoid preemptive programming? Well, this is that is the goal.
Awareness is where we begin. So when we are aware of that this is what it is, and that we are the best self-judges ever, so we are the ones to begin telling, oh, I would so love to kind of just take the plane and fly, or but I don't have money, or but I don't see how is it possible now, so I put it then for later when the thing that is missing in my equation will be present. Well, you can be sure that that missing ingredient will never come, because that is the exact self-sabotaging mechanism that the subconscious is playing out. It will do everything to never give you the missing ingredient so that you can stay and conform to that view of reality where things are not supposed to work out. And you'll have a proof on paper that the only reason why you can't, just move to Bali or live or do the around the world tour is because, you see, of course, there's evidence why it's not possible. But that evidence is manifested by your own subconscious mind, who is afraid what will happen if it does work.
So pretty much these beliefs that we said, that kind of sound mantra and that set of beliefs are almost like opening the door, a portal, so that the proof that proves them right is the only thing that can come true. So really to open up to the whole range of the expressions of the world, is to do away with these beliefs that funnel. These beliefs are like a funnel that are bringing into our awareness only stuff that proves them right. So this is, so what David is asking is how to avoid such negative, those programming, and it starts really with awareness that they exist.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
identifying the belief, the most famous
Mhm.
belief that holds this whole situation in
Mhm.
place.
So we actually want to go and check what are your favorite beliefs, what are your favorite judgments, and to actually measure how strong they are, and to actually dissolve them here for all of you
Mm-hmm.
and for all of us.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that we want to do at this meeting right now.
And just one more time, I feel personally that it's very important to understand that self-sabotaging mechanism, which is invisible, but how it actually works. Yesterday we had a guest here, a woman with 2 children who is completely exhausted, and she says, yeah, I would love to go for a walk or do yoga, but I have children, and I can't have a time of my own. So her subconscious program that says I'm not allowed to have time for myself actually manifests as those children who are taking like 100% of her time away. So the program creating the situation with children being there gives a legitimate justification to I would love, but I cannot. And even taking the children away as to try what would happen if the children went for a summer camp for 2 weeks, they'll be the exact next why not coming in. So this is how we keep ourselves at arm's distance from acting upon meaningful projects, is by subconsciously creating the lack of this or lack of that. For some it's because they are children, for some because there's no money, for some is because it's not the right place or it's not the right time. So there will be always something keeping it at a distance, but we are the ones who manifest it that way because of this subtle fear of what will happen if I actually do and go and do what I wanted to do. Self-judgment is very subtle.
What if Eleonora is asking, what if I expect and feel that something will go wrong, and of course something minor does? Is it just my fears manifesting?
To some extent, actually, a little expecting that something goes wrong is healthy because it helps you to not over polarize in a positive way. If you put too much expectations of your own thing going right, well, that's what will make it go wrong, because you're putting just too much of one kind of energy, and we're all about balance. Yeah. So when you expect your thing to go wrong, but from a healthy place, you're actually minimizing the chance for it to really go wrong. So it might not sound very intuitive, but this is how it works. When we put too much of excitement in the end result, it has to create the disappointment to balance it out. If we quietly, why small things happen just easy and effortlessly? You wanted something, you didn't give it too much importance, and it happened. You all have those kind of examples, that things that don't matter actually happen, and without too much effort, and things that matter somehow, it's different because of that extra energy that we're putting in wanting it to happen. So Eleanor, you can keep, I know that specific way how you expect things to go wrong. You have a little controlling element to be aware of, but basically it's not a bad thing to expect something to go wrong. At least you don't overemphasize everything being right.
Actually, what we want is to not expect anything. It is that we state our preference to the universe. This is what my the wildest dream is, and this is what my preference is, but may it come in a way that is maybe even much more magical than I imagine it. So that openness stays, that it can come up in any way and not limited by the way that how we can see it manifest.
Mm-hmm.
Because that can really make it much smaller and make it actually not even happen. If we have the advice to God how to do it, if we want to micromanage God and tell him, okay, this is how I want this to come,
and
give it to me in this way.
Yeah? And at that exact moment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because what matters is not the dream that comes true. What matters is the experience. As the whole life is just experience. So why would we need to control it so much? So when we're open to experience the way how we get to our, best possible state, the one that we can call a dream, then how we're going to get there will be so much more interesting than the end result. And I can quickly give you my example that includes all that I'm saying, is that when I decided to, I just needed a reason to be out of the town of Nice. Yeah, living in south of France, in Nice, of course, it's a gorgeous place to be, but it was too much of a town. And then I decided, okay, I would really want, a guest house, something completely crazy. I can make it how I want, no limits whatsoever, and create something that doesn't exist. And and that's the experience that I want to do. I didn't think much of what I will do if I had the guest house and how I'm going to run it. I wanted actually the process of making it happen. And in the most magical ways, of course, I had the turbulence, people saying I'm crazy, irresponsible, it's too much, it's too big, it's...
nobody's going to like it.
Nobody's going to like it, it's too out there, but like severe obstacles, actually, not the physical, but sounds coming from many people.
Hypnotism.
Yeah,
hypnosis coming.
Trying to induce the state where I would settle for less and not go full on, my full-blown crazy ideas. So I managed to not listen to that. And I did make the guest house, and it was very much different from anything. And those who have been here, you know what I'm talking about, right? And it still is. 10 years later, we had journalists coming over 2 days ago, and they were like, oh, wow, I mean, how did you even dare to do something like that? And here comes the moment that I wanted to highlight. Not only the dream happened, it happened much better. I invested zero money in marketing whatsoever, because it marketed itself out of its own uniqueness, and it still continues carrying its energy of uniqueness, and it just exists without too much effort. But the second that I finished and the first guests were about to come, I was like, okay, well, now I can look for something next to do. Because the experience of whom I met while going towards it, who helped me, how we laughed, how things didn't work out, how we built the bathtub all by ourselves, how we fell in the mud, how the pool was leaking, like that whole thing was so full of life. And it was the time of my life where actually through those unexpected things, I was just moving and saying, I'm going to make something so unique, like as far as my imagination can reach. And believe it or not, the journalists came and they found me. I never reached out to anyone at all. They came and they said, okay, we obviously see that there's some internal process behind all this creation. So how did you do that? And I said on a public TV, you know, a French public TV, I just said it out like that. I said, okay, trust your imagination and reach as far as that can take you. Your imagination is the only limit that you can have. And that program that stated, you know, this little interview actually was repeated for, I don't know, 5 years in a row. Every spring, that program was on the national TV. And in 10 minutes, I got bookings for the whole summer, you know, from people who just heard the message, felt inspired, wanted to check out. So this is the magic that comes when you go really to the ceiling of what you can imagine. And even the obstacles were somehow taken care of. I can't explain it any better than that. But the important thing is that I didn't settle in that dream and say, okay, so now I have it, it's comfortable, it's cool, I got my recognition, I got my everything, so now I'm done. No, the minute that it's done, it was just, okay, where's the next thing to do? Yeah. So this is a perpetual journey of experiences. It doesn't matter the shape that it takes, the form it takes, how statistically well it's going to work out. What matters is what happens when you're going towards it. So that's my little personal experience. And with conviction, I can say that it's absolutely worth moving towards whatever is the ceiling of your imagination.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's now coming back to this decision, because the self-judgment with its little bag of buts and because and here is why and all that, it's like a little inspector, you know, and it was you know, keep standing behind your back with his little kind of questions and questionings. And you don't need that. So when you go for something, go wholeheartedly. Because if you do something half-heartedly, your decision is already having this grain of bad luck. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I have
Victor
some
has
examples. Well, I have examples of both, actually. I mean, this was an amazing example that Evia is had with building this place. I had examples of both. I had examples where I completely believed into something that I've done, and this is like, you know, out of my real estate career in Washington DC, I decided, well, guess what, I love films, so I want to make movies. So, you know, this was like, oh, okay, well, what do we do? Well, from Washington DC we moved to New York, and in New York, you know, I engaged in a film academy and kind of really worked with the real actors, learned about how the New York works in making movies. Completely crazy idea about movie came from my funny small Russian stories. Actually, Irina just left. She might know who Daniel Harms is. But I mean, like the world completely changed during that. This is like, okay, so now we change and make movies. So this is complete magic, completely like everything worked in mysterious ways and in amazing ways. So we finished the movie, we fundraised it on crowdfunding, then we screened it. It was completely beautiful experience. On another hand, I had an opportunity to do something that was less magical, and this was okay. So I studied architecture, so it makes sense. I'm going to make a house in Washington, D.C. area. Great, okay, so this is another creative project, but I have no passion in architecture whatsoever. I studied this because my parents were architects. So in that, everything around that project was really, it was difficult, it was a problem, it was difficult to sell it, it was difficult to market it, because you know, it's something that I built how the Washington DC houses are selling. So I'm building something that is going to be good to sell. So no passion. It is just, you know, a product. So that was one of the, well, that's when I was closest to bankruptcy, actually. So this was like, okay, let's not get into this anymore. Although actually some of my business friends are kind of asking a question, have you had the bankruptcy before? And if you say no, they say, well, then you're not ready yet to do business with me. Because what's really needed is that you have gone through the bankruptcy, you've seen that it's not a big deal, you have continued, and then, you know, you see, oh, but okay, this is a tool we have. We go bankrupt and then kind of just build the business again. So my example is not as colorful as yours, because I cannot really remember all these experiences. I just feel in my heart how magical it was to be a filmmaker in New York City. And I thought, my God, I'm living my dream right now. You know, like every morning we get up and we will do something that's completely impossible. And by the end of the day, it's done somehow. It's like very, 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 very magical. Whereas every morning when I'm building a house that is a chore, it's, oh my God, again. So we have again to order more materials. You have to bring like the machinery to dig the earth. Oh my God. So it's
so now I'm healing his experience and beliefs around building, because for me the building was the most magical part ever. And that, you know, I've done it so many times that I only believe in magical building, where I suck in that field of complete impossibilities, the whole team and the builder guys, everyone, and it can be magical. So it doesn't, the topic is not what of the activities are magical and what are not. They all can be. We can be magically accounting, you know, I don't know, looking through the numbers, and it can be super magical
marketing, magical accountant.
Yeah.
This actually, now we are seeing that it exists, because now we attract these people in our life. And it's amazing to see like a magical accountant. How about they love what they're doing and they are actually spiritually growing and kind of finding new ways how to do things. It's really amazing to witness this.
Yeah, so it's to say it's about the process. It's about the way how you get to where you think you want to be, and not micromanaging God in how it will be at the end. And trust that, because there's a universal law that states that why those dreams and nudges even exist, because we could settle for a mathematical formula, then why do we feel something? Why do we feel inspiration? Well, because this is how your soul guides you to your destiny. Through the dreams and following the dreams and actively acting upon them, this is how your life will thread itself through many different experiences. Because what your soul wants is to have as many experiences as possible. It doesn't want one and the same experience for 60 years, right? That is identical day to day. It's like, how boring would it be to eat the exact same food for all your life? You wouldn't want that. So that's what the soul is calling, is suggesting experiences. And well, you have to bring somehow your body to act upon them.
To dare to actually listen to that voice.
Yeah.
So actually, yeah, that's the mechanism that we have discovered. We have the connection to our higher self that is connected to divine source. And of course, as incarnated on this planet, we have a free will. So the higher source does not actually impose things on you. You have all of us have free will to do things, and we have a free will also to do things in the wrong way. But what higher self does, it is strongly suggests what would be a more magical way to live. And that strong suggestion of the higher self is the feeling of excitement. So when we feel excited about something, you can understand, my higher self is whispering through my fears and through my programming, and it is suggesting something that is worth considering. When we feel that joy to do something, that's what it actually where it comes from.
Yeah, and thank you, Ev, for putting it one sentence. It's exactly that. Through dreams, your soul guides you to your destiny.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah, and it's a lifelong statement. You know, it will never grow old, because somehow we have been really bullied into being too serious by all possible means, and that there's a certain way to do things, and it's like this and not the other way. And because it's so massive and so everywhere, that we at some point gave in and believed it.
Well, it's trying to happen now as we live. It's trying to massively shrink us to the state of fear.
And we're living it like on this threshold right now, both of us, because we're planning the online course and online sharing that we'll tell you about. It's almost ready. A 5-week course that we were being bullied into making it less than magical. And we lost 2 months in dealing with
attempts to make it smaller.
Yeah.
Attempts to make it more ordinary.
Last week we said, you know what, we cannot be ordinary and we
will
cannot
do it in a
be
magical
normal.
way.
It's called Make a Wish and Make It Happen. So it's a 5-week sharing, 5-week, you know, deep experience. Anna, you heard about it a little bit in Austria, and so it's along those lines.
It's 5 weeks that actually really guide this process of creating something from the wish to manifestation. And actually there we will explain, David, what you asked, how to push aside distractions.
What's a goal?
Yeah, and how to hear directly that voice.
But what was very interesting is that at some point, me or you, we both gave into this, you know, marketing discourse that this is how things are done. This is how things should be called. You cannot say make a wish because it sounds childish. You cannot say it's make it happen because then it's not like that. And we were like,
seriously, like considering.
And then from and you know, we even, you know, asked you guys because we were getting so confused that we almost lost it, you know. And then, you know, at some point we were so confused that we didn't even know whether we were going to do it at all.
So we understood one thing: we either not do things or we do them full on in a magical way.
Yeah,
and that is now
happen what may.
Yeah,
but there's no way of minimizing how you want to say things, how you want to live them, and how you want to present them, especially those who are sharing things. Well, this being unapologetically yourself, it's not a small ingredient. It's actually the main ingredient that will bring you so much joy and so much fulfillment that it's worth kind of cherishing it.
Unapologetically yourself, that really.
So we have prepared a little experience because we felt it's really important. We had a session yesterday and the day before and the day before, and the topic coming up is again and again this comma but is taking over the life of dreams. Yeah. So we've been weeding out those beliefs for people, so we thought we might as well do it all collectively. Yeah. And well, most of you are familiar with a little procedure, how we do to spot the beliefs. And we can really go one by one and see where you're at in your subconscious with the statement of how open are you to live your dreams, or how self-judging are you to yourself. Yeah. And once we transmute this belief, it'll actually open a much more peaceful space for where to consider just anything in your life. So if you're up for that, we can, we can just do it. We can go one by one and see what's your current state, and then we will do a little transmutation all together as we are used to do. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So whoever wants to volunteer to be the first one to
know the truth.
yeah. Anna raised the hand. Yes, Anna wanted to say something. Or you raised the hand by mistake. We don't hear you. Let's see. Unmute yourself.
Okay, I want to volunteer so that you're checking of my path and where I am.
Okay, so Anna is the brave volunteer number 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know that the dream, and you know it for ages, but where am I on my path to getting there finally? You know, while you were talking about everything, I realized that as my daughter is going to the seaside with her school friends and teacher on 22nd of June, that I will go volunteer with dolphins. I don't know still where, in Greece. We're in Greece because Greece opens for us. So there are dolphins there. There are some programs. I can go there now, and I will do it for that week. But I don't know at all yet the details, but I'm gonna do it. But you know that my dream is since forever to live on the seaside, to work with dolphins to have a good spot on the seaside. So obstacles all the time.
Well, there is one little word already in your desire that is micromanaging the God, and this is volunteering with dolphins. I guess what the real wish is to be and work with dolphins. So already volunteering something imposes that it has to be a certain way.
No, that's the organized program that there is. To just they organize to spend the whole days with dolphins. They have boats, they have everything that I don't have now yet. So that is called volunteering program.
So that the way we are going to check it for all of you is we crafted the end statement, which has the highest possible vibration that we want to override anything that's there before. And that statement goes, I am open to experience my dreams and live a life of peace, love, and harmony. Yeah. So we will get to that a little later, but I want to explain so that will give you the idea of what we will check. If the ultimate, freeing phrase is I am open to experience my dreams and live a life of peace, love, and harmony, that means we're looking for, are you actually ready, or is it something standing on the way? But you will not know to explain if you are ready or if something's standing on the way, because it's locked in a basement and you don't have the keys to that. So what you will all do, one by one, you will say just this: I'm open to experience my dreams. Yeah. And I will see where you're at with this one statement. I am open to experience my dreams. And so there's this nuance. It's not I'm open to live my dreams, or I'm not open to receive or pursue or any other word. It's I'm open to experience, because we said it's all about feeling what you feel at any given moment while you get there. Yeah. So then you can set the example by just stating this: I'm open to experience my dreams. You can go ahead and just say it.
I'm open to experience my dream.
Well, on a conscious level maybe, but on a subconscious level you have a collective interference here, where probably it's a family, country, and the world in general that somehow suggests otherwise. Yeah, casts the field.
I know that. So So
Yeah.
that's the fact.
So this is what you know, just keep on the side, that it's collective that's actually not allowing you to experience your
And it's
dreams,
not
yeah?
yours, so it's
Mhm.
just something to know.
Yeah. So then the next one. Who goes next?
Okay, I can go.
Yeah.
Yes, Anna.
Okay. I am open to experience my dreams.
Wow, you actually are. And can you say, and live a life of peace, love, and harmony?
And I am open to experience my dreams and live a life of love, peace, and harmony.
Okay, so there's one little thing. Live a life, say the life of peace.
Life of peace,
Yeah, and
love,
Mm, mm,
and harmony.
Love flows down. Yes.
there's a little hiccup on love and harmony. So there's something still a little. It's little. It's not a massive interference, but yeah, you're all good till peace, and you're a little bit switching off when it comes to love and harmony. Maybe some parts don't believe that it's actually possible. So just keep that on the corner of your mind, and we'll recheck it then. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay. So who's next?
Yes. I think David was the first, then Karin.
Yeah. I am unstoppable. I am open to experience my dreams and to live a life of peace, love, and harmony.
Well, in theory. In theory. So you don't have a blockage in there. You don't have a subconscious interference, but it's almost like you know that this is what you want, but there's something not allowing to land it in a physical. It's the idea. Yeah. It's the idea, and the danger here is that it will still stay the idea while you're kind of, you know, looking for yourself, and kind of you're not living it yet, you're not embodying, but it's a just one step away. So keep that in mind. We'll recheck it later.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
Karin?
We don't hear you, Karin. Turn on your mic, please.
Better?
Yeah.
Yes, now we hear you.
Sorry. It's been noisy. I'm open to experience my dreams and live a life of peace, love, and harmony.
Okay, so interesting. So to experience your dreams, you have really worked on that. So you're a little bit, yes, you're on the way. You start doing that. Okay for the peace, but say again for live a life of love and harmony.
Live a life of love and harmony.
Not there yet.
Yeah.
But for the dreams, you have managed to switch yourself on that tune. So
Okay.
keep
At least.
that in mind. Yeah?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So who goes next?
I'll go.
Okay.
Yes, Amber.
I'm open to experience my dreams and to live a life of peace and harmony.
You actually skipped love altogether.
Sorry?
You didn't even say love.
You just excluded love.
Oh, where did it go? Okay, because I was reading in the... Okay, so I'm open to experience my dreams and to live a life of love, peace, and harmony.
So you have interference for experiencing the dreams. Something is still telling you how you shouldn't. But for peace, love, and peace is okay. But love and harmony is still in the etheric. Like theoretically you're ready, but practically you haven't embodied it yet.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. Mm-hmm.
Who's going next?
I can go next.
Yes, Anna.
Yes, Anna.
I am open to experience my dreams and live a life of peace, love, and harmony.
Yes. Yes. Wow. You whatever you have done it well. It's very quiet. It's not like overwhelmingly energized, but like you're there. Like you have actually, clicked something inside that it's a yes. Okay, so this is very actually important to know, because then you will help us to transmit that frequency to everyone else. Yeah. So kind of tune in and get ready. So then there was Hannah who raised hand. Yeah. Hannah and then Eleanor. Yeah.
All right. I'm open to experience my dreams
Yes.
and live a life of peace, love, and harmony.
Okay, so again, love and harmony. Everything goes
Peace
well.
was on,
So,
yeah?
Peace was on. And harmony, let's see if harmony goes off as well, or it was just following the life of harmony.
And live a life of harmony.
Yeah, there's and love is still somewhere a little bit locked behind. But it's okay, we'll bring it back into the team. But you're ready to live your dreams, so that's a cool thing.
Thank you.
So Eleanor.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm open to experience my dreams and live a life of peace, love, and harmony.
Wow, this is also very interesting, because you actually are ready for all of that, but like this very prudently. Like, yes, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready. You're standing on the doorstep and, about to step in it. So that's cool. So you're ready. We need to have more energy in that.
To boost it up a little.
It's coming.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah, that's why we're here, to boost it for everyone. So who goes next? Eva?
Yes, I am open to experience my dreams and to live a life of peace, love, and harmony.
Exactly like Eleanor, standing on the threshold and about to do it. So you have managed to weed out the interferences, but you need more energy to kind of actively feel it and, have no more questions ever again about it. So beautiful space to be in. So then who we haven't heard yet? Isabelle, Zane, Uwe. Isabelle, vas-y. Ça va en anglais?
Je vais essayer.
Ok, c'est.
Yes. I'm open to experience my dream and to live a life of peace, love, and harmony.
Tout va bien, sauf l'amour. Tout le reste est là. L'amour, on va l'ajuster un tout petit peu.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all went well, and also the love was locked. So we will boost it up.
There must be something really strong telling that, perfect love is impossible. There must be something sitting there, because it's so collective. Merci Isabelle.
Thank you.
Zane, Uwe, who goes?
I'm open to experience my dreams.
Yeah.
Live a life full of love, peace, and harmony.
Yeah, you're more open for the dreams than peace, love, and harmony, but they're there. You don't have any particular obstacles there, but they also need more energy. But for the dreams, you have found the formula. Then
Zane, then David, we didn't hear. Yeah, who goes first? David? Daniel?
I can.
Zane.
Yeah. Okay. I am open to experience my dreams and to live a life of peace, love, and harmony.
Well, Zana is another case who is completely open for a life in peace, love, and harmony, but not for the dreams. So we'll shift that part.
Okay. Thank you.
I can go.
Yes.
Yes, Daniel.
I'm open to experience my dreams and to live a life of love, peace, and harmony.
So yes for the dreams, and not yet for love and harmony.
How was peace?
Well, peace, it doesn't have a interference. So the peace is okay, but it's not fully active yet. It's like a concept. It's ready to be lived. But then that love and harmony is waiting to be brought back into limitless field. But for the dreams, it's okay.
So we have Ty and Gail that we didn't hear yet. Who goes first? Ty?
I can go. I can go
Okay,
first. Okay. I am open to experience my dreams and live a life of peace, love, and harmony.
So same, yes for the dreams and not yet for life of peace, love, and harmony. So we'll bring it up to the to the flow. And
how about you, Ty?
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 So?
Do you want to say, Ty?
Yeah, sorry, my internet is not really.
Now we hear you. We barely hear you. Maybe come closer to the mic a little, please. Oh, also very, very, very quiet.
Okay, but it's okay. I can, I can just from your field, I can read it. So don't worry about that.
We will read it from your field because we don't hear you. Your mic is too low, but we will tune into you without the words. Don't worry.
So you're almost there. So same as for Eleanor and Ev, like standing on the threshold of actually giving it a go, and waiting for more energy to embody that. I know you didn't say it, but I don't. I can check anyway. Yeah. So we're gonna boost the energy there. Voila. So now we have your beautiful, and you see how it's diverse because we've been hurt in different areas. Everyone of us has been limited in some specific ways, and what we all collectively, you see, even within our little group, we have people who are totally yes for the dreams, who are more yes for love and peace and harmony. So all together, we're going to create a field where we will transmit however we got there, but through the quantum field, we will transmit this vibration of, I've understood, I've gotten the formula, I've gotten it out of any doubt for myself. So we will go through a little meditation, and Anne as being embodiment of this statement already. So you're welcome to really let's do it in the simplest possible way, not even through a meditation that takes us somewhere, but let's connect our hearts and follow Anne's voice and our intention of dissolving anything, any doubts, any self-judgment, any judgment of other that might stand in that precious moment where your soul guides you to start something that's truly meaningful for yourself. Yeah. So you hold the intention of how would it be that really everything was possible. So connect yourself to your heart and to the feeling that everything is possible. And it really is. And there's nothing, you're unstoppable, there's no one on the earth to tell you why things shouldn't work out. And we'll close our eyes. Victor will open the process. And then let's follow our hearts and feelings and guidance and honest voice, and gift each other the parts that we have managed to embody already, and let's give them to everyone else who hasn't embodied them yet. So let's begin. And save the feeling that everything is possible. Save the feeling that you're open to experience your dreams exactly the way that they're going to be brought about. Every single moment of the journey, just as it comes and manifests on your way. With open heart and no judgment to self and others, you're ready to live a life of peace, love, and harmony. Now. And so it is.
And so it is. And so it is. And now fixed into all of your cells by this bell right now.
Mm. We guys all together created such an amazing mandala. The energies were going, bridging hearts and minds and etheric bodies. It's absolutely amazing. The gifts happened more than we could ever expect. The gifts of the qualities that we interexchanged. It's going to bring something really, really beautiful in your lives.
Observe what has changed. These exchanges like this with no words and with the frequency and pure intention, that is super, super, super powerful.
And if you write it down, it would be nice if you write it down, this I am open to experience my dreams and live a life of peace, love, and harmony.
Mm-hmm.
And just say it in your water every morning 3 times out loud. Say it in your morning cup of tea or coffee until that becomes your super reality. And until there's no doubt whatsoever.
Literally, this statement, eat it through the food, drink it through the water, and really breathe it through your nose and breathe it through your whole skin.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we embody this.
And
yes,
pass it on.
Beautiful, wonderful, and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And I had a little question to Hannah. So, you know what about? Because Hannah is actually, she didn't speak up for that, but she has created a dream of becoming a singer-songwriter, and she actually did it. And it actually works. And you will, those who know how we melt when we hear the songs from the heart. And Hannah has a specific song that she has foreseen, about a year ago, or when did you write this song?
This one actually almost 2 years ago. Yeah. When I didn't even know yet that I wanted to create an album, this one just came. Yeah.
You wrote the song, and then that led you to many beautiful adventures, and the album and the full-on expression as carrying on your voice the vibes of the heart.
So it's called I Can Be Me. All right. Now I can be who I meant to be. I can be me once and for all. Now I can see with all clarity this path that leads me into love. In all those years young, I was certain inside, trapped inside it. I let go. In all those moments when I needed to fight, how I really feel. And the freedom that lies in the past, I see that they won't last. can be who I'm meant to be. I can be once and for all. Now I can be with all their tears. How they lead me into more sweet moments, grateful inside, deep connection. I'm calling it, making memories. Like how we little towers, they shall be given. What's the time is to come? Out of my control, no more need to numb anymore. Now I can be who I'm meant to be. I can be once more. Now I can see how it goes. This path that leads into love, into love, into love, into love, into love. Into
Mm. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And if you have possibility to share those lyrics in the Facebook group or something, I find it's very, very meaningful. And you know, any link where we can listen to this song, because the Zoom doesn't, you know,
Doesn't give it justice.
doesn't give it justice.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
Yes.
thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Well, guys, so that's all we had to say. Follow your dreams. Never give them up. Just make the first step. Go anyhow. However
Yes.
you see the first step can be done. And don't question. Don't listen. Just listen to your own heart and guidance, and it has all the answers inside.
And let it come in any way that the universe wants it to bring.
Mm-hmm. And if you have someone doubting, just tell that this is possible. Be that voice that, you know, encourages.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, then happy Saturday and Sunday. Happy week.
And see you next week.
See you next week. So beautiful to have you.
Yeah.
As always, thank you for coming and sharing and opening your hearts and minds and subconscious minds.
And observe how the world changes after this transmutation that we've done.
Yeah.
Thank you, beautiful people.
Thank you very much. It was really beautiful. Thank you, everybody.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you, everyone. Happy weekend.
Ciao.
Thank you.